Welcome. So the topic we are going to do today is the pneumonia and diarrhea progress report. So this is one of the report which is released annually, and it provides the progress of various countries, what kind of strive they have made in terms of controlling the pneumonia as well as diarrhea. So we have seen in case of the COVID-19 pandemic right now that healthcare system is very important, and such kind of pneumonia and diarrhea diseases which could be preventable, the vaccines are already there. We need to focus on that. So the government authorities need to put their focus in these particular diseases, as well as we have some good news in store with the 2020 report which has been recently released. So let's begin and try to understand. So it is released annually by the International Vaccine Access Center. So this is the institute which released this progress report. So now a good news for India that India has made significant progress in its vaccination coverage to prevent child pneumonia and diarrhea deaths. So India has actually made a lot of strive in terms of how the vaccination has been provided to cure the pneumonia and diarrhea. Although the overall world's health system are failing short of to ensure that children have access to prevention and treatment services, India has achieved the global target of 90% coverage for three of the five vaccines whose coverage is monitored under the report. So now this is actually like various days we heard about how India is faring bad in terms of healthcare system, but this is a proud moment. Government authorities have really worked towards for that we have reached a vaccination of 90% coverage. In fact, in this regard, you go ahead and learn about the universal immunization program, as well as we have the Indradhanush mission. So under these particular missions, the government of India has provided the coverage of 90% for the vaccination of pneumonia as well as diarrhea. What are the major findings from this report of 2020? So diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus, which is the DPT vaccine, measles containing vaccine first dose, Haemophilus influenza type B, and pneumococcal conjugate vaccine PCV, as well as the rota vaccine. So which are the three vaccine which has been worked in favor of India, where they have provided the 90% coverage? This is your DPT, diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus. Then we have the rotavirus, which is again one of the vaccine which helps in fighting the diarrhea, and we also have PCV, which is very important for the pneumonia, your pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. And in fact, these vaccines have actually provided a lot of relief to the children, and overall the cases of child having the deaths due to diarrhea and pneumonia has came down in the years. India has also completed the 100-day agenda, an unprecedented national scale-up of rotavirus vaccine. This landmark vaccine expansion will help protect 26 million children born each year against life-threatening causes of rotavirus diarrhea. So if you actually look towards this, India has made a lot of headway in terms of the rotavirus vaccination itself, and they actually get into the mission mode under the 100-day agenda. In that, what they have done now, they have provided the vaccination on a mission mode, and by doing that, this particular expansion, we could save the life of 26 million children born each year. So you can just see the kind of impact these particular things have. However, India has failed to reach four targets for treatment: breastfeeding, immunization, care seeking and antibiotics, oral rehydration solution and zinc supplementation. So these are few targets which India has missed. So there is still a scope for India to perform even better. So these are the few targets which India should have covered under the whole target it has set for itself, which include the breastfeeding, immunization, care seeking and antibiotics, as well as oral rehydration solution and the supplementation of zinc. So that is something which is India still have to work on. But apart from that, India has made a great progress in terms of the vaccination coverage for pneumonia and diarrhea specifically. Now let's just quickly see the report card once again in a glance. So though India has made some stride in its vaccination program, access to treatment leaves much to be desired. So we still have working on the primary healthcare centers, and we also have the problems of accessibility of treatment. So that is still where India need to work. So India under 5 diarrhea and pneumonia deaths in 2017 was 2,33,240. So you can put out this data. You can use the approximation, but use this data while you are writing your mains answer. India's coverage of rotavirus vaccine increased from 35% in 2018 to 53% in 2019. So we can see there is a lot of increase from 35% to 53% we have reached within a year. So we can say that a lot of strive had been made in terms of increasing the coverage of vaccines. The coverage against the pneumococcal pneumonia increased from 6% in 2018 to 15% in 2019, and treatment for diarrhea had the lowest coverage with only 51% of children receiving ORS and 20% getting zinc. So ORS and zinc supplementation, which is still the target India has missed, need to be provided in order to actually take care of the problem of diarrhea. So this is particular thing has been highlighted in the report card, how India has fared in terms of its diarrhea and pneumonia diseases, how it is trying to control it. So another thing for everyone to know over here is that this particular diarrhea and pneumonia are leading killers of the world's youngest children. So these are two diseases which severely affect the children, accounting for 29% of death among children under the age of 5, or more than 2 million lives lost each year. So if you just look at the sheer number, 2 million lives is lost each year of the young children because the pneumonia and diarrhea. Yet levels of prevention and treatment remain low, particularly among the poor. So even though with the vaccination and everything, and we have the vaccination for it, even though the treatment level remain low, and particularly poor people are more vulnerable. Let's just also try to understand few of the details about the pneumonia from your UPSC point of view. At times in prelims, they have asked about the various symptoms and the viruses which could lead to certain diseases. So let's try to look pneumonia from that perspective. So it is called by Streptococcus pneumonia, is the most common cause of bacterial pneumonia in children, and Haemophilus influenza type B is the second most common cause of bacterial pneumonia. So which are the two bacterial pneumonia? You have Streptococcus pneumonia as well as Haemophilus influenza type B. Then the respiratory syncytial virus is the most common viral cause of pneumonia. So you need to understand that pneumonia is not only caused by bacteria, though bacteria one is the most common one, but it is also caused by virus as well as fungi. So if you know the microorganism which could cause the pneumonia, so it's mostly what we heard is bacteria, but viruses and fungi could also lead to pneumonia. What happens when the person is infected from pneumonia? So the air sac in an infective individual lungs, or what we call as alveoli, become inflamed due to deposits of fluid and pus, making it painful and difficult for them to breathe. So basically alveoli will be getting filled with a kind of a fluid, and that will make the whole process of breathing in, breathing out very painful for the person who is infected with pneumonia. So the people who are more vulnerable includes the children as well as elderly above the age of 65. So in the present condition of COVID-19 pandemic, pneumonia was considered one of the, what you can say, problem which could attenuate the whole process or the whole severity of symptoms of COVID-19, because again the coronavirus was also affecting the respiratory tracts, and the lungs were the most affected organ in the body. So in that regard, if a person has been suffering from pneumonia, he was very susceptible for the COVID-19 infection also. So these are the few things that you need to know. So I hope you have understood this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.